It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. That reminds me of Marathon of Mayhem. I shouldn't do that.
Sure, me being sad wearing my Marathon of Mayhem shirt all day, just being like, baby, I miss you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream.
The VelociCoaster live stream.
Here to talk on this week's episode of the podcast, one thing and one thing only.
Churro stands.
And that is the churro stand, VelociCoaster. And joining us, we have a special guest, Michael.
Michael,
yeah. So your last name is pronounced Corelli, right?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure. I don't sound like I don't make myself look like an idiot, which is very easy for me
so
to
easy.
do. It's so
very
easy.
You beat me to it.
It's okay. I'll do enough of that for all of us.
That's okay. I'm an angel.
But yeah, Michael's going to be joining us. He was there today. We all rode VelociCoaster, so we are just going to sit back, relax, and chit-chat about VelociCoaster on this week's recording because it is amazing.
We did it.
And it deserves its own podcast episode, so that's what we're going to do. So actually, hang tight. We're going to get going right now and get this thing going. So let me get going here. Let me mute everybody so I don't have to hear anybody. I just hope I remember to unmute you this time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ThrillGeek Podcast. I'm Clint.
I'm Barry.
I'm Emily.
And
I'm Owen Grady.
I'm Owen Grady. You would. I love you so much. You're awesome.
We love you, Michael.
Joining us on this week's episode.
I was going to say, we have our good friend, Michael Corelli.
Yeah, we have our good friend, Michael Corelli. For those of you that don't know who Michael is, I'll let you know what, Michael, I'll just give us let me mute the music here and tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into Michael. Obsession is an understatement with Jurassic Park for you. So I'm gonna let you tell us about yourself, how you got in. I don't know much about how you got into Jurassic Park and stuff. So the floor is yours, sir.
All right. So I've always loved dinosaurs, and when I was younger, I have three sisters, so we would always go to Disney, and we never did Universal. It was always princesses. So the only way I could experience dinosaurs was at Disney's Animal Kingdom, and we did that very rarely because there's no princesses there.
And you got Dino-Rama.
Yeah. And so when I got older, I started going to Universal, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I mean, I've always loved the movies, and when Jurassic World came out, it really just, I kind of lost it. I made my first Owen Grady cosplay when we had a Lego Jurassic World building event when I was working at Toys R Us. That photo's floating around somewhere.
Oh, and then
it just kind of kept going from there. And then Fallen Kingdom came out, and Mattel got the licensing for the toys, and then I just kind of lost it. And that's where all my money's going.
I love how you put that. You just lost it.
Yeah, and then I started going back to the parks trying to perfect the cosplay, and then people picked up on it, and it started becoming a thing. It was kind of an identity I had in the community.
You're quite the celebrity in the Universal Orlando pass holder group with all the pictures you post and everything. And, I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
He's a thirst trap. It's true.
What was you said it was interesting that you said Jurassic World kind of got you into all of this and not really Jurassic Park. Did Jurassic Park have any influence? I mean, the original movie, or was it mainly Jurassic World that got you hooked into the franchise?
I mean, I guess it was a bit of both, but
sure.
I mean, I love the original trilogy. That first movie is cinematic gold.
Yeah.
There's no way around that. It redefined a lot of how movies are made. How can you not appreciate that, and just the love of dinosaurs too, and just.
But I still watch that movie in the early the fact that that movie was made in the early 90s still blows me away.
Yeah.
I actually watched like a video last night just kind of detailing like how much work went into like the T-Rex animatronic, and it's just for something that literally came out like the year I was born. It's just so interesting to see like how technology worked back then versus like now. But even for what they were doing back then, it was way before, like ahead of their time.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing people in the chat dying about our thoughts on the ride. So without further ado, let's get into talking about VelociCoaster. First things first, we'll chat about the queue experience, I guess you could call it. Queues have gotten to the point where they're in
pre-ride.
Yeah, they're an integral part of the ride. VelociCoaster, not so much. There's setup. What did you guys think of the queue for VelociCoaster between obviously those of you watching the live stream? This is I guess it's a bronze statue. Is it bronze?
I was going to say real quick for people, we are about to go into spoiler territory. So if that's not your jam, I mean, obviously this whole thing's going to be a spoiler. So I'm just letting you know now.
So, I am going to post it. I have a few pictures. So if you guys don't want to see that stuff on the live stream, just a quick heads up.
Yeah.
Some people don't care. Some people do. But yeah, just a fair heads up, we're going to talk about, pretty detailed stuff here. So, but we'd all written it. We figured we might as well go into detail and share our thoughts on it. So, Barry, you've been awfully quiet. So what did you think of the queue for a VelociCoaster?
I'm definitely impressed. I mean, I think one of the very interesting things is it uses the entrance to the ride attraction uses a part of Jurassic Park that is sort of just not a lot of people went down there on the backside of the Discovery Center. And so I think it was really smart to basically use that pathway to back there and that whole area in front of the water there for the entrance to this attraction. Because Jurassic Park is sort of cramped as it is, the walkways there. So I think it was smart to move it back there. I mean, you walk down that sort of hill down to the bottom there, and you first see those Raptor statues, and then the coaster is right there. Yeah. And you can, as you're walking to the entrance, you look up and you can see the top hat element to the attraction. And so I mean, it really sets the stage as you walk into that queue for the first time.
Michael, you as a fan of the franchise, what did you think of the queue? Were there any parts that really stuck out to you, or any what were your thoughts on it?
Well, should we go like room by room?
Yeah, we could do that.
That'd be easier, probably.
Yeah. Barry lightly touched on the extended queue. When we got in line, we actually did go out. They had just opened up more queue, and the extended queue actually goes down by the water, down where the Heartline roll is over the water, and then it snakes back, or it does a U-turn and comes back into the building. And the statue of the four Raptors is in that first part of the queue when you're standing kind of right outside the ride. You can see the statue. And Emily, tell everybody a little bit more about the lighting and the music and everything, how that worked out.
So I need that installed in my house. Don't care where you put it. Just put it in there.
The lighting and the sound and everything.
Yeah. I mean, so when you go in, like just directly into the queue, you're basically just walking forward. There's obviously queue markings and you go back and forth, but you're going forward, and that's, you just see that like gigantic bronze statue. But I know everybody's going to take pictures of this statue, and like that's like the thing, and I even posted like obligatory statue picture. But what I thought was really interesting is, if you look up, obviously you have this like whole lighting package that turns the different colors of the Raptors, which I thought was really interesting. But what's cool, my friend Gary pointed out to me, is if you look up and then you look down at the floor is in the same exact patterns as the top. And me just being like an architecture nerd, I'm like, ooh, I like that.
For those of you watching the live stream, all this stuff where my mouse is up here on these like white lines that change colors, it's identical on the floor. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it kind of did give me like Marathon of Mayhem vibes, just like a little bit, just because how perfectly like the music was matching up to the lighting and everything like that.
Yeah.
And they actually do have like the Jurassic World like logo posted on the side, which I don't think we have a picture of, unfortunately, but it's okay.
Yeah,
but that also was lighting up. That was also lighting up as well in correspondence to what, whatever the lighting package was up top. And even like as you see in the back, like the VelociCoaster on like the TV, even like the TV was like pulsing with like the same color and sounds. And I just thought that was like super interesting. And it's like obviously not the most interesting thing of the entire queue, but the fact that like someone was just like, I'm going to do this, and I appreciate them for it.
Yeah, and that's those TV screens in the first area right by the bronze Velociraptor statue is where you first see Mr. DNA.
Which I was like my baby.
So that's the first. It's really cool that they involved him in the ride. Michael, anything about the first room here that you wanted to comment on, or anything that really caught your eye about it?
I mean, like Emily said, it's that lighting package as well as that statue. You go in, and this area, it's like an iPhone meets a zoo. It's just everything is so sleek and modern, and it feels so pulled out of the movie. It feels like this area is so modern and that it's existed there forever.
It feels very military though too.
Yes.
I feel.
Yeah. It does have a Transformers vibe to it, the queue. I will be honest. But then after this room, you go into a little room that doesn't have much going on in it, and then correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. I may need your help after this. What's the next room after this? You go into the.
It's just a hallway.
Yeah,
it's just a hallway, right?
Dark hallway, and they play some of the more intense tracks on the soundtrack.
Yeah,
and then you turn the corner, and it's the launch up the top hat. And you have a fusion effect of the Raptors.
Unfortunately, this area that I have up on the screen now comes after the launch, right?
Yeah, that's after.
Yeah.
But
we have
unfortunately,
a video of it up on the Twitter.
Yeah,
Twitter.
Barry and I were standing there recording video of this because it's not a picture area; it's a video picture. Barry, actually, you explain this area because you're kind of the one that I want to talk about because this part is for coaster nerds.
What, the launch?
Yeah, the launch area where you can see
no
the Raptors
one was
running.
expecting.
Give us the
Yeah, I mean
it's
really great because I mean you see glass. It's basically glass, and you're looking onto the launch area, so you can actually see the limbs or LSMs. What he uses to launch the coaster. The crazy thing is they have some sort of like, I'm assuming it's some sort of, I don't even know if it's projection or it's some sort of LCD layer.
I think it's an LCD. At least that's what it looked like.
It's like an LCD, some sort of clear LCD layer on the glass that as the coaster comes in for launch, it's
the Raptors start running.
The Raptors start running after the train, and and apparently you can see, if you're paying attention, you can see it from the train itself. So it works both ways.
I have to pay attention next time because
it was really neat, and it's really cool because the lights change. All of a sudden, the lights flash red, and you see the Raptors come on. And it's an impressive effect.
It's so cool. I think this was, and I think you guys agreed with me that this was probably our favorite part of the queue, next to the animatronics, which we're going to talk about next, which are up on the screen now for those of you watching the live stream. This area where you can see right into that second launch that goes up into the top hat. The effect that they do with the Raptors running beside the train as it flies by is so cool. And there's one, I think there's a couple, I don't know if there's different ones, but we were standing there recording, and
I think we saw at least two different versions.
Yeah, we saw one. The first one that we saw.
There's a few different versions.
Yeah. The first one that we saw, Blue kind of stands around at the end and like looks at people, and then she finally runs off. And then I think the second one, it was a different Raptor that hung around. I can't remember if it was Blue or not. But really cool, really well done. This was probably our favorite part of the queue. And then you go into the next room, and
there's like a next hallway before you get to this dino.
Is that where all the little Easter eggs were?
There's like little Easter eggs.
Yeah,
so there's like Ian Malcolm's book. There's Oh no, Alan Grant's
Grant.
Alan Grant's
oh no,
We
book.
have the Jurassic Park expert in here. Why don't you just ask him what his name is? But yeah, no, this next room is kind of a quick little room, but there are some really cool Easter eggs in there. So after the room where you see the coaster launch with the Raptors running by, if you're riding, pay attention because there's some really cool little Easter eggs in that room.
And then
you
also,
probably noticed more Easter eggs than we did, Michael.
Yeah, there's I believe there's
gonna-
dino treats in there as a reference to Triceratops encounter being in that plot. There's the RC model of the coaster train.
Which I want. I think I have a picture of that. Hold on.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
There's also a glass of water.
Yeah, this is the coaster model that they have in there. It's really cool. I wish they would sell this. Come on, Universal. Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
You got a rack of iPads, which I'm guessing is a bit on the nose for if you watch Camp Cretaceous. That was one of the MacGuffins of season 1 where they were kind of tracking where the kids found an iPad because Brooklyn's phone was broken, so they were trying to track their way around.
That's right. Yeah.
And then there was like some logs on behavior, and I think Owen's bracer was in there from the Fallen Kingdom flashback. Dr. Ellie Sattler has her book in there. I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah, there's
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there are a lot of Easter eggs in there.
Digest.
And then there was also a video screen in there, and that's one of the first. I think that's the first part where you see someone from the Jurassic World movies.
Yeah. But yeah, that room's really cool. All sorts of really cool Easter eggs in there. So when you go to that room, be sure to keep your eyes peeled for all sorts of really cool things. And then you finally go into the room where you see these guys. And Michael,
it's one girl.
Yeah, these ladies.
Just one lady.
Well, there's two in there. There's two.
There's one.
I'm blind.
Well, the one on the left, which for those of you watching the live stream, this one here, this is Michael doing his best, doing the thing that he does best. And there's one here, and then there's one over to the right, and then there's like an empty one, obviously right next to that. But these animatronic Velociraptors are some of the most impressive, given they're not moving a whole lot. They're only kind of moving their head, obviously, because they're locked into these restraints. But the detail on these things really blew me away with how articulated they are with the breathing and the nostril movement and the eyes opening and closing and the shaking. And
I was about to say, there's one part where they're like thrashing in there.
Yeah, I think I saw that when we were walking out of that room. But Michael, what did you think of the Velociraptor animatronics in this room?
I was speechless going through there. I'm pretty sure these were created by City Neon Holdings, the same company that's doing the Jurassic World exhibition that's going to Texas.
Oh, is that the traveling thing or whatever?
Yeah.
The traveling show? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the same company that did the animatronics for the Feld Entertainment shows. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Doc is asking us in the chat of the ride, the coaster time from start to finish.
We'll get there.
It's probably
we'll get there.
Yeah. But these animatronics are amazing. I loved them. Barry, what did you think of it?
I was definitely impressed. I mean, the fact that you could tell that they were breathing and they snorted and they curled their lips, and like I said, they do different things. It's all about what time when you walk through the queue, they're going to be doing different things, and it looked like there was a raptor right in front of me. I mean, it's one of the most impressive things as far as like Jurassic World / park animatronics up close like that. It was pretty cool.
You can get really close to it too.
Yeah, they're right there. I didn't know how close you were. I saw people
posting. You can touch it. Don't touch it.
Yeah, don't touch it. I was wondering how close you get to it because I had started seeing people from the employee preview post pictures, and I was like, how far are you from it? Excuse me. You can get pretty close to them. Yeah, just don't touch them because they do bite. And then after that room, you head into
the lockers.
Is that the locker area?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's talk about the lockers. Emily, you wanna chat about the lockers? The really amazingly awesome lockers.
Well, okay. So the one thing that was just a little bit lost on me is, and I get why they do it. They want you to remember what dinosaur you have with what matching color. And honestly, I just remembered the number.
I didn't even see that. That's an odd.
They have it like playing on the TV. They're like, make sure you remember what dinosaur you have and what color. And I'm like, 2. Like, I have 2. But what's really cool about these lockers, and it's like, even though I really enjoy the attraction, I really enjoy the queue, what I kind of look for in new experiences is how to increase, guest flow and how to make things easier for guests. So what was really cool about these lockers is they're still like the standard, size lockers, like kind of like the little boxes, and you scan your pass and you call it a day. What's cool though is, and I recommend pushing all your stuff to the other side, is when you get off the ride though, it's basically like if the locker is here, when you get off, the locker's over there. Yeah. You're at the same locker. So what you're doing is just opening it up from the other side. So I think that's really cool. Instead of having to kind of go all the way back in the room and fight with other people who are trying to get in and out of the locker area, they're just 2 separate areas, even though it's the same locker. So I thought that was super interesting. And I hope Universal kind of continues that when it comes to newer attractions, because it's just so much easier for guests.
Mm-hmm. It really was. I heard people talking about it and I was like, okay, I got to experience this. And the locker situation, like the worst locker situation I can think of at Universal is like Forbidden Journey.
Yeah, but they fixed that now.
But that has been fixed with the new the new locker area that they built. But think of like the old situation.
Oh no, the old one was bad.
Everybody was in that one area opening and closing their lockers. This is amazing. Kudos to Universal for coming up with this. This double-sided locker situation where you put your stuff in one side, you get off the ride, you go down the stairs, and you open up the other side and you get all your stuff out. Genius. It works, and it was amazing.
The only thing that kind of sucks is like if you do have like an oversized bag, you're putting that in the Discovery Center.
Yeah, the bigger lockers.
So that's the only thing.
Discovery Center, if you have a bigger backpack, and they do have the test seat area out front, they have a little slot for you to put your stuff in to test it to make sure it fits in that. If not, you have to go into the Discovery Center to get a bigger locker. And I believe those are not free.
Those are usually like what, $3?
Yeah. I think they're like a couple bucks. But so no, the locker situation, really cool. Loved it. And then after that, I think you head into the room.
You have to go upstairs, right?
You go up the stairs. Yes. And then I think this is the big room.
The big TV room.
Yeah, Michael, I'll kind of let you talk about this and what you think about this. So
yeah, Michael was on the TV.
This basically, Michael, you're on the ride. But no, this is where you learn basically and I'm using my little quote fingers, the plot of VelociCoaster. So, Michael, tell us a little bit more about what's going on.
So, at the beginning of the first Jurassic World movie, Claire meets with the investors and she has her line about bigger, scarier, more teeth. You get that in this too. This is her newest idea to try and boost revenue and attendance at the Jurassic World theme park.
Let's plot people in.
Yeah, let's put a roller coaster in the
Raptor paddock.
Yeah, in an empty paddock and fill it with the Raptors. And Owen's just going off through the security checks, and he's like, "I'm telling you, this is a bad idea." And they're going back and forth, and this story takes place before the events of Jurassic World, before the Indominus Rex breaks out. So they're not on the best of terms. They're still in that flirty, will they, won't they, kind of Spider-Man, Peter Parker / Mary Jane relationship kind of thing. And so there's a bit of tension between them. And Claire is like, "Oh, you'll be perfectly safe. We have this special technology.
Nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong in a Jurassic World attraction or movie."
Exactly. And that's kind of your last send-off before you get on.
But you know what's funny? nothing really goes wrong on this ride.
Yeah.
It works perfectly.
This is like actually Claire's dream.
Yeah. Claire gets the better part of this deal because it actually works beautifully because VelociCoaster is damn amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, after this area where you get briefed, so in a nutshell, the plot of VelociCoaster is you are riding a roller coaster in a Raptor paddock.
That's it.
And there is no suspense. Plot. That is the plot of VelociCoaster. You are riding a roller coaster in a Raptor paddock. So yeah, after that, you head into the station, you get loaded up and ready to ride. So that's kind of the queue in a nutshell. Now we'll talk about the actual coaster itself.
I was gonna say there's a gorgeous view while you're waiting to board of just like these huge glass panels, and it almost looks like the Indominus Rex.
It's got the
like,
very
looking
Indominus
out at
Rex,
but I wish I could like just look out there and watch the coaster go by.
If I had to come up with something not really bad or negative or something that I wish that they had, I guess it would be the better way to put this, is I wish that was a part of the queue, because the view, that's the only way you get to see that portion of the coaster.
Yeah.
And that's the exit of the ride. I wish that was part of the queue. There's these massive window panes, very, very similar to, for those of you that have seen the Jurassic World movie, of the Indominus Rex paddock, when Owen and when they're looking out at the Indominus Rex paddock trying to locate her. But I wish that was part of the queue, because you don't get too much time to look out there and view the coaster. But anyways, that's a tiny, minuscule thing that I wish was,
I just wanted to appreciate her.
Yeah, it's a really cool view, but you literally get to see that if you're lucky getting on the coaster, but then you get a few seconds to see it leaving and going down the stairs. Barry, why don't you chat with us about the first portion of the coaster the first launch?
I mean, you basically head out of the station, go to the left, and then you're in, I guess we could consider like the
holding pen, I guess.
Holding pen,
I guess you could call it, right, Michael?
Yeah, it's the equivalent of going to the dog races. You got that little barrier.
Yeah.
You're ready to start running the rabbit. You're the rabbit.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and then you can hear Owen talking, and all of a sudden you look to your right and you can see a raptor behind in the holding pen.
You see one of the raptors standing there. I'm horrible at naming these raptors, spotting which one's Charlie and which one's Blue and which one's so we'll just say Echo. Yeah, we'll just say a raptor is off to your right, and then you launch and they run with you, and that the rest is history. Where do we go from here? This is when obviously the first launch is a lot of fun. The first segment of the coaster, this ride's kind of broken into two parts. You have the first part in the paddock, and then the second part that goes back by the Discovery Center. Michael, what did you think about the first portion with the launch and going through the Raptor, the pen?
That's got to be my favorite part. And like you had said earlier, I did not expect that to be as intense as it was. It looked like it was just breezing through there when we were watching when the walls came down and they were testing. But that first launch, that caught me off surprise, because that air time when you just swing around there and you go down through that tunnel.
That first turn.
It break your neck.
Yeah.
And then just from there, weaving in and out through the rocks, you don't get a lot of time to appreciate the detail, but it does tend to slow down once you go by the Raptors.
Yeah,
Personally,
they designed that one area where you where the Raptor, because this area does have 3 Raptor statues, they're kind of poised up on rocks, and they designed the coaster just right enough to slow down just enough for you to kind of get a glimpse of it. And there are onboard speakers, and you can hear the Raptor screeching and the sound effects of the Raptors as you're going through this first area. But yeah, it surprised me, because I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't expecting that area to be as intense, because we've been watching this thing testing for weeks, and I was like, oh, that first part looks like it's going to be a little slow, but I think it's
No.
so.
It hauls.
It's so compact. Yeah, it's so compact. I think that's where I misunderstood it, and it's so compact. And even though I think the first launch is what, 50? I think, yeah, the first launch is 0 to 50, and then the second is 40 to 70. So that first part is pretty intense. I completely underestimated that first portion of the coaster. And then once you hit the second launch, and like I said, you go from 40 all the way up to 70.
You feel it.
Up over this. Yeah, you feel it. You go up over this top hat, and Barry and I were lucky enough to get the back car. Barry, tell us about the nice little pop of airtime you get at the top of this top hat.
Oh, I mean, it's a rush when you hit that launch, and then you're up at the top hat. And I was not expecting the intensity of the airtime coming up over that top hat, and it is like ejector air for. I felt like it was a good 3 or 4 seconds all the way down that top hat to the bottom. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it's no other way to describe it.
Any other Barry, any other parts of that second half that really stood out to you? The inverted stall, the helix, the inline twist, or the heartline twist, I should say. Anything else?
The stall is really impressive. It's something that's only popped up on I feel like only
it's only on a handful of coasters.
Yeah, these Intamin, are they called hang time coaster? I forgot what this sort of style of Intamin coaster is called, but I mean it's only popped up on a few of those, and it is a neat feeling because it's like you're literally upside down for about 2 seconds, and but it's like just you're moving so fast that it's very disorienting. And then the Heartline roll over the water, I've ridden over 500 coasters. It's hands down maybe the coolest steel coaster element I've ever experienced. It is just, I don't know if it's just because how you're over the water there, you're so close to the water.
Yeah,
I mean, it
was really cool.
It was so cool. I mean, if I remember, both you and I were just like scream, like
we were
just
screaming like little girls. It was amazing.
It was awesome. What about you, Emily?
Yeah, Emily, I see you shaking your head.
I blacked out the whole time.
Emily just had an out-of-body experience the entire coaster. That's all.
I saw God.
She saw God. She said, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?"
I was like, God looks like a raptor. I'm not a big roller coaster person, like at all. I did enjoy myself. Don't get me wrong. The ride was a lot of, oh my God, at a very high pitched volume for me and just screaming my face off. The Heartline roll though, all I remember is going, no. Going over
That's all
James.
you remember is screaming no?
Yeah, all I remember is screaming no because it was terrifying.
I
Also, girls, do not bring your favorite hair tie or scrunchie because you'll lose it.
It'll be in the lake.
Yeah, apparently you weren't the only one.
No, every single, like, I tweeted that. I was like, oh my God, my hair tie's gone. Everybody else is like, oh my God, me too.
Michael, what did you think about the second half after the launch and up over the top hat? Anything that really stuck out to you? Any favorite parts or?
All right, so this is the most intense coaster I've ever been on. I've never done Hulk. I've never done Rocket.
Yeah.
Probably the most intense coaster that I've ever been on before this was Everest. So.
Oh no!
So this is a step up for you.
Yeah, I was just like, why not? Let's just go. I mean, it's Jurassic, so I was automatically obligated to do it. And I mean, I feel like that spaghetti bowl is the most intense part of the whole ride.
Yeah. There were actually there was one moment of airtime in that double helix. I forgot where it was. and I wasn't expecting it.
It really caught you by surprise.
Do you know what area, Barry? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
I know what you're talking about, and I will be interested to see once we get to ride again and be able to go in the front. Is I feel like that first section is going to have some different airtime.
Yeah, we were like in the middle to middle back.
Yeah, so there's definitely some parts in that first section where you come up, and that's usually where if you're in the front, you'll hit some airtime. So, I mean, like I said, I love the back. I can't wait to ride the front, and to me, the other big thing is I cannot wait to ride this at night because I feel like it's going to be a completely different experience at night.
That lighting package, though.
Yeah. As far as me, the top hat was amazing. Barry, you nailed it with the little pop of airtime that I had you kind of chat about. The inverted stall was coming off that top hat and going right. That's the thing with VelociCoasters. Some coasters have this moment of time where you can catch your breath. With VelociCoaster, there is none of that. It's literally one thing after another. You're coming out of the top hat, going right into that inverted stall, coming out of the inverted stall, you are still upside down in the inverted stall going into that double helix. I think the only time you get to maybe gather your thoughts is the little straightaway you have before heading into that heartline roll. But other than that, it's just nonstop, even the first part, but then the second part comes along and you're doing 70 miles an hour up over this top hat. It's just the pacing on this thing is unreal. So anyways, it's a phenomenal coaster. And then you come up and you hit the brakes and there's actually an audio Easter egg. Michael actually posted, turned around and told me about this when we were hitting the in brakes. Michael, tell them about this little Easter egg that you hear.
All right. So when you're pulling into the station right before that covered part outside, there's a worker that's calling for Owen. She's like, hey, there's a problem at the river adventure. We need your help. And he's like, are you serious? And then it just kind of cuts off from there, which in Jurassic World, they actually do have the river adventure ride. And that poster is actually in the locker area with other attractions, like the Indominus Rex coming soon, and then Cretaceous as well coming soon, because those attractions weren't yet available to the public at the time. So this is all in canon before that. So I think that was kind of cool. Will we ever see that happen? Will that tie into that?
Yeah.
Who knows? But it's a fun Easter egg to help ground the attraction in the existing area.
Yeah. It was really cool. And I heard it, but then you pointed it out to me and I was like, oh yeah, so my mind was going 1,000 different directions at that point after riding the coaster. So I was like, what's going on? What?
Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully one day they will update River Adventure and instead of us having sort of this mashup of Jurassic Park / World, maybe they'll change it over to Jurassic World, but that is the future. We'll see.
Yeah. So I think that's it. I think we pretty much covered, the coaster scene by scene, the
also
queue.
It's like, so that one guy won't be mad at us. It's like maybe 2 minutes, 30 seconds ish.
Yeah.
I think it's about a 2.5 minute coaster. Most of these coasters are 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I did some digging and I still haven't found even probably the place that usually has all the information about roller coaster database still hasn't posted or like a ride time. So it's,
but some quick stats for you: 155 feet tall. The drop is 140 feet, 4,700 feet long. Top speed 70 miles an hour. 4 inversions. Your max vertical angle drop is 80 degrees. And like I said, the first launch is 0 to 50 in 3 seconds. And then the second launch is 40 to 70 miles an hour in 2.4 seconds. And that's the one that kicks you right in your ass. And it's amazing because you have no time to think between that little dive into the tunnel, the launch up over the top hat. It is like this.
That's why I said I blacked out.
Emily, you can attest to this then. Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? I'm off the coaster already?
Yeah, you dive down into that tunnel and you're like, oh, it's going to slow down. Nope, you're going back up to 70 miles an hour.
and also, since we didn't know, but our friend Sam with the Expedition Theme Park has told us this model of Intamin coaster was originally called the Blitz model. It's now just called LSM Launch Coasters. So Maverick was the first one at Cedar Point. So
yeah, Maverick, Cheetah Hunt, they're all kind of similar. Let's talk about the Restraints. Michael, what did you think of if Expedition Everest is one of the biggest coasters you've been on, and that has a fairly simple lap bar system. How comfortable were the cars to you?
Oh, they were perfect. It kind of reminds me of how on Men in Black you have that high chair kind of feel. You still have.
Emily can elaborate on this.
It is a high chair.
You're a bunch of babies on this.
Listen, I'm 5'4". Okay,
you still have a
barely
spot for your feet that you can put them in, but they are so forgiving compared to Gringotts and Mummy.
Emily, anything you wanted to add about the Restraints and the lap bars and the trains? And
listen, like, I'm a bigger girl. Like, I got some thighs, I got a tummy, I got my arms. So it sucks because every time like an attraction comes out, if you are someone who's slightly bigger, you're kind of like, oh shit, am I gonna fit on this? And I was very nervous, like to the point like I'm like zooming in on pictures just to make sure it's not all skinny people like riding the coaster when it was team member preview. So I was just very nervous. So I did try the test seat, and it's just very simple. They just pull it down. If it's green, you're good. And usually I really love Mummy and Gringotts as attractions. I hate the restraint system because if you have anything more than like slightly bigger thighs, it's gonna crush you. I experienced the same thing on Mako. So when I was asking like a few friends that have been on it, I was like, oh, is it like, and they're like, yeah, it's kind of like Mako. And I'm like, hush, like, oh, Emily's not going on it.
It's nothing like Mako.
No. So when I pulled it down and like, I didn't feel anything. It is very forgiving. You have to, when you get in it, you're getting in and it's very weird. It's kind of like very close. When you're trying to get into the seat and like kind of sit back, like you don't really, in that point, you don't feel like you have too much leg room because you're kind of trying to squeeze yourself in. But I basically like had to lift myself like I was getting into a high chair, and I had to almost like no, but it's true because like I'm a shorter person, human being, so I already knew like my feet were gonna touch. Like I'm chill with that. That's fine. I just did not realize I literally had to go like and like lift myself into the seat.
You have to jump up into it.
You do have to jump into it, which is funny to me. But what I realized for myself, and maybe it helps other people, is you have to push yourself back because I'm just used to sitting in a roller coaster and being like, woohoo, we're gonna have a fun time. This one I literally had to move my entire body back to fit in there. Once you're back there and you can lift it down, you're fine. Like I did not have any discomfort, absolutely none. Writing this, and I just want to kind of put that out there because I think a lot of people do get nervous about these things. So to kind of at least help people that maybe aren't going to pass holder previews, maybe are just waiting till June 10th when it officially opens. Like, please don't beat yourself up about this ride. Like, you will fit. Like, it will be comfortable. Like, again, I would be honest if I felt any discomfort, and I really didn't. So,
and we've I saw on Twitter, I saw a lot of friends that are that are bigger people, and they sometimes they don't fit into some of these previous theme park attractions that have opened, and they've been able to fit into VelociCoaster. So it's really awesome to see that. So and they do have the test seat out front, like Emily said. They
also have one in the locker room.
Yeah, they have one in the locker room. So if you're unsure, and you just want to absolutely make sure, they do have the test seat for you to try out. So that's VelociCoaster.
I'm definitely I've been on a lot of coasters. Those are maybe my favorite Restraints.
I really like them. I really enjoy those.
Massive improvement over the older Restraints that like Cheetah Hunt has. Which has those just shoulder things that just at times hurt.
Suck.
I mean, it's just if we can continue with having a lap bar style restraint on a coaster that goes upside down, I am all for that because it's just. And
there's a good amount of freedom too. It's not very obstructive. For those of you watching the live stream, you can see this lovely picture of Barry, myself, and Emily. You can see the train up here. There's a good amount of freedom. Like, you're able to put your hands up, and really enjoy the coaster.
I think we might have mentioned it. I just want to make sure, like, the restraints, they do come down. You have to pull them down on top of your lap. It's not a like pull down like Hagrid's.
Or
Men in Black.
for those of you that have been on like Hulk or like a B&M coaster that goes upside down, it pulls down like an over shoulder restraint, but it's a lap bar that comes down over you. It's really cool. It's really well designed. Kudos to Intamin for this design. I like Barry said, I hope we see more of Sam, there's no seatbelt either.
No
Sam just
seatbelts.
said in the chat room there's no seatbelt. It's just a lap bar comes down, boom, you're done. This person said, at what point do they take the ride picture? I believe
it's right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning.
It's before the Raptors. I think it's right before you see Echo.
Do that launch. Yeah. It's that first launch, I think, right?
It's like the first or second turn.
Yeah.
Like the area where you like drop down a little bit. It's very early in the ride in the attraction.
There is an on-ride photo though. Thank you for that question, Mike. There is an on-ride photo. You get to see your photo once you get off the ride, and I think that pretty much covers it. Lockers, the ride, the queue, everything, the whole package. The coaster is amazing. Universal. Kudos to the whole team behind this, designing, building. It's such a phenomenal coaster from start to finish. It's got everything. It's got airtime. It's got inversions. It's got launches. It's got it's the perfect package coaster. It has something for everybody that's into roller coasters. Even if you're not, this is a good one to start off on because it's got everything. So, Michael, anything else you wanted to touch on? Anything else that we missed that you wanted to talk about before we wrap things up here? Or
it's
Raptor
a very
things
accessible,
up here.
It's a very accessible coaster, meaning I was kind of scared to go on it when they were building it.
Yeah.
And then I guess just hype overtook my nerves, and then I went on it, and I had a blast.
That's good.
I had
That's
a
good
stupid grin on my face the whole time. And
it's so hard to keep your mask on.
Yeah.
It's really not bad. You really don't feel any discomfort. It's so smooth, and I think the smoothness definitely helps.
That's one thing we didn't mention was how smooth this coaster is.
Yeah.
It's
very
so incredibly smooth. It's buttery smooth. Chris asks, so final review out of 10, how would you rate? Emily, go out of 10.
Numbers. I don't think my number would give it justice, only because again I blacked out because I was pretty scared. So I would like to go on it again, and I would definitely like to do a night ride. Yeah. So I would give it like a solid 7 out of 10 just right now, and nobody kill me. And that's only because I just
murdered.
I don't remember most of it.
That's fine. Barry, out of 10. 10 out of 10.
I don't like doing numbers. All I will say is it is one of the best steel coasters I've ever ridden.
Same here. I think you and I were kind of on the same page. Michael, how about you? You give it anything out of a 10? Solid 10?
I give it a 10 out of 10 gold blooms.
10 out of 10 gold blooms. I love it. Oh gosh. And I think Sam asked, do you think now you have been on this, are you guys open to bigger coasters? I mean, Sam, I've been on Top Thrill Dragster and Millennium Force, so this, as far as height goes, I can't really speak on that question. I mean, Emily and Michael might have, a bit more commentary on that question.
Will there be dinosaurs?
He's not going to go on it if there's not dinosaurs.
For Michael to ride a roller coasters, you need dinosaurs. There's no dinosaurs, no go.
My thing is I will try anything once. If I try it once though, and I'm not a fan of it, I'm not going to force myself to go on again, type of thing. Well, so I was nervous about going on this, but now that I know, kind of what to expect, even if I don't remember every single thing, is, I know myself. Somebody actually asked too, is it too intense? And I actually did want to kind of bring that up. Personally, myself, just background on myself, I do have nerve problems in my neck and going into my shoulder. So now, a few hours later, obviously, I am feeling it a little bit, not to the point I need to go to the hospital or anything, anything extreme, but it's I do feel, kind of the G-force and the intensity of it, and I just need a really good massage. Yeah. My boyfriend, unfortunately, he didn't throw up, thank God. But he did have to he did have to sit down though after. Yeah. It was so we're not used to doing stuff like that, so it was just a little too intense, at least for him, that he just needed to be I need to sit for a second, and then I was like, are you good? Are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'll be fine. So that's just, I kind of want to bring that up just a little bit, just for if you aren't used to going on coasters like this, like know yourself, know your body. And if you don't think it's the right thing, don't push yourself.
It's an intense coaster. You know, this is up there with Hulk, any of those other major coasters. To put it in a nutshell, it is a pretty intense coaster. More so the second half after you launch and you go up over that top hat. That whole second half is like an out-of-body experience. The first part, not so much. Like I said, the first part's compact, and you're doing a lot of twisting and turning. But once you launch that second time, and that whole back portion just is unbelievably intense. So
no, I mean it's intense, but it's smooth. That's I will say that's the difference between, like, I think now you've got 4 really different coasters at that park. You know, you got Hippogriff, which is more of a kiddie family coaster. You've got, you know, Hagrid's, which is sort of a mashup of a coaster, dark ride. You've got VelociCoaster, which is, you know, next level intensity, but still most people can ride it. And then you got Hulk, which is sort of like up above all of them as far as intense. So 4 very different, very unique and distinct coasters. It's you know, it's a nice little mix now that Islands of Adventure has.
Yeah, it was really the perfect addition to kind of you know, level out the playing field as far as coasters at IOA. Doc says, we got a question here. Do you think compared to Rocket, if you can do that without this? Yeah.
If you can do Rocket and not have any problems, then you can easily do this coaster.
If you can do
If you can get off a Rip Ride Rocket without having your neck dislocate,
Rip Ride Rocket, you can't really compare to this. I would put
it
this way,
not the same category.
Put it this way, it's been a while since I've been able to say I would ride a roller coaster over and over and over and over. Whether it's Mako was probably the last one that I could, you know, ride a couple times over and over and over. VelociCoaster is a coaster that I will easily ride several times in a row, to put it in a nutshell. It's smooth, it's fast, it's fun, it's got the inversions. It's like I said, it's got the perfect package coaster to get a little bit of to get a little taste of everything. So that kind of wraps it up. Yeah,
it's the perfect addition to Islands of Adventure, and kudos to the entire creative team who put that together, because they really have created an impressive.
Sam, Iron Gwazi next. Come on, Busch Gardens. So, Michael, really quick, where can everybody find you online to check out your pictures and everything?
You can find me on Twitter at Michael Corelli. You can find me in the annual pass holder page. You can find me on Instagram under Jurassic Space Yearbook. I do a bunch of toy photography on there, paleontology, I collect fossils, just anything to do with Jurassic, whether it's stupid memes or just me running around sweating my butt off at Universal. You'll find it there. And then I've got my regular account, Michael Corelli, which will just be cosplay and theme park photography.
He does some really cool, for those of you listening, make sure you give him a follow on Instagram. He does these really cool pictures every now and then of like Lego figures in like dinosaur scenes. They're so cool. He does such a great job with the Lego figure, the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World Lego figurines, and he's even done some inside the park in the Jurassic Park section. So they're really cool. So be sure to give Michael a follow on all the social media accounts and all that jazz. So Barry, where can people find us on social media?
We are at ThrillGeek on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook.com/ThrillGeek. Please like and follow our Facebook page, YouTube.com/ThrillGeek. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And already up right now is our VelociCoaster first ride reaction.
Look at you.
Live right now on YouTube. Be sure to check it out and see what our experience was getting to ride VelociCoaster for the first time. Clint will be posting a video of the queue.
Maybe,
at least as far as we can go in the queue, and then coming up in the next week, Sen and I went to Disney's Old Key West Resort and explored around, trying to do some different, more off the beaten path Disney stuff. And we will finally got a reservation to Magic Kingdom, so we'll be going to Magic Kingdom this week and finally checking out the Cinderella Castle decorations. And
reservations do exist.
Yes, reservations do exist. So that'll all be coming within the. within the next week to ThrillGeek, but our Jurassic World VelociCoaster video is up there right now. ThrillGeek.com for the latest in theme park and pop culture news. And of course, you're listening to the ThrillGeek podcast. Wherever you can get a podcast, you can get the ThrillGeek podcast. And shock, surprise, we will be back in a week. So,
yeah, we'll be doing another one. We were going to do all the trending theme park news with the Disney cruise news and everything tonight, but we decided to go 100% VelociCoaster because we'd all ridden it and it's amazing and we wanted to talk about it. So here we are. So Emily, where can everybody find you online?
If you want to watch me retweet things and post about memes, you can follow me on Twitter at Geek Notice. If you want to watch me occasionally post a picture, you can check me on Instagram. That is also Geek Notice. And then if you actually want to watch me upload a video, because I filmed one today for VelociCoaster, you can catch me on YouTube at Geek Notice.
Everything Geek Notice. And for those of you that want to follow me on my personal Twitter, it's IamCG83 on Twitter. You can follow me there. Other than that, I pretty much run all the other Thrill Geek stuff, so I don't have time for any other social media accounts.
And I'm at Culture and Thrills on Twitter and Instagram, and Culture and Thrills on YouTube. So
alrighty, Michael, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I appreciate it. Not only today for riding VelociCoaster, but here on the podcast, chatting with us and nerding out about VelociCoaster. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. It's been an honor. I really appreciate you guys kind of
thank you
taking me in. Theme
we
park
love
family.
you.
Aw.
So anyways, all right, guys, we're going to get
I wouldn't go that far, Emily.
I don't love you, Baron.
Okay.
For those of you in the live chat, hang out
like
for a
you
few
either.
more minutes, and we'll chat with you guys. Anybody's got any other questions about VelociCoaster? Thank you guys for chatting with us in the live chat during the podcast. We greatly appreciate all your questions, comments, and we'll read as many as we can. We try to read as many as we can during the podcast, but hang out afterwards. We'll try and answer a few more if you guys got any more questions. So anyways, until next time, be safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye.
See you in the parks.
All right, everybody.
And we're back.
Unmuted.
Sam just wants to send me my hair tie back. I guess it went all the way to England. You can ship it too. Here's my address.
I got Mr. Jordan here. He wants me to
Jordan.
He wants me to show him all the pictures of VelociCoaster before he goes to bed. So,
I'm going to attempt to export my video. And if my video and audio goes really bad on this, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if anybody in the chat has any last minute questions, we had a lot of really good chat going on. So I appreciate you guys chatting with us on YouTube. Really appreciate it. I don't know if we missed anybody's questions. Like I said, if anybody had
I tried
a question,
to cover it.
Yeah, I saw a few questions pop up. I'm trying to go back here. I don't know if the people are still here that asked the question. But if you guys have any more questions before we get on out of here in a few minutes, let us know in the chat. Sam, thanks for joining us. If you're still here, appreciate you, man, as always.
What time is it over there?
What's the time difference between here and over there? Over
5 hours.
So it's 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. You go forward, right?
It's 4 or 5, depending on where he's
at. So anyways, guys, thanks for chatting with us. We really appreciate it. We had a blast. He said it's 2:40 in the morning.
No thanks.
Go to bed.
I'm not alive during that time.
Yeah, I'm unconscious at 2:40 in the morning.
Okay, I'm starting to export my video now, so my audio might suck. Sorry.
You mean export as in uploading it to YouTube?
Well, I have to export it so it's the file and then.
Oh, so you're rendering it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha. He said he's on the East Coast time to talk to Jackie.
I love my mom and dad.
That makes sense. So anyways, yeah. Michael, thanks again, man. We appreciate it. We had fun today hanging out with you, riding VelociCoaster.
Yes,
that was good stuff.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys.
Of course, it was good stuff.
It was fun just running around, like watching girls walk by and be like, "Oh, Owen Grady."
Well, I love the people that are like, "Do you work here?" And Michael's like,
"Is that Chris Pratt?"
I have 2 or 3 people like walked up to Michael today and asked him if he works here. It's so funny. I love it.
Not yet, but fingers crossed. Maybe one day.
You'd be perfect for the Raptor encounter.
Thank
It
you.
was just really cute, like all the kids being like, "It's the guy."
Like I said, be sure to follow Michael on his socials, on his Instagram, really, because he posts some really fun pictures, some fun pictures of all of his Jurassic Park stuff and all that.
Somebody asked if the trains have speakers or were the sound effects mostly external. I blacked out.
I think it's a bit
Mike,
of both.
they do have speakers on the train, just like Hulk. When they redesigned Hulk and they rebuilt it, they put the onboard audio.
Isn't there something in the Q video that says something about like the lights next to your head? Am I losing my mind, Michael? There's something in the Q video that says something about like on the seats that there's like sensors, but I think that's really where the speakers are.
There's speakers there, and then in the Raptor statues, there's some spots in the rockwork where they.
I was about to say, but it's like physically like on the Raptors, not on the ride vehicle. So it's like when you go by, you hear it.
I can't speak for that, but I know there is.
I don't know if there is speakers on because it does. The train.
I feel like you'd have to have it on the train.
The train does not look like it has a sound system on them. So
I'd have to look at the concept art. That one head on, yeah, I don't see it. I'm looking at remember the really cool pictures that they released? I'm looking at them right now. You know, I can actually drag this over here to the let me drag this over here. And
the actual ride vehicle. Well, I'm trying to figure out then maybe why they included that in like the ride like Q video then.
Yeah, I don't see speakers on it.
It's okay, can you zoom in on it? It's whatever those like little like square looking
these things up here.
Yeah. That's what they're talking about in the Q video, but they're just saying like, "Oh, they're sensors for your safety." And I'm like, "What's that mean, girl?"
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that might be I think the coasters just have a lighting package. That is it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're just trying to like incorporate into the story. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they just have really cool lighting packages, but
I feel like if you had onboard audio, there would have been a soundtrack.
Yeah, there isn't one.
And you would have been able to hear Owen
oh, true.
talking to you more clearly.
Mike says, did it have cool futuristic engine sounds like Tron? There's like a cool like build-up noise when you first launch. Like it's like this like energy like a build-up sound. That's the best way I can explain it. Like energy's building up and then it launches. That was kind of a cool sound effect. Other than that, you don't really hear anything else out throughout the coaster. It's not like Tron where you have like you're riding the light cycles and
and Tron has onboard audio.
Tron has onboard audio. There are speakers on the trains for that, but I don't think VelociCoaster has onboard audio. So yeah. Sam asked if you had been on Terran.
Nope. That would have required me to go to Europe.
Yeah, that thing looks pretty crazy though. That thing's like a giant spaghetti bowl of just twisted.
Yeah,
insanity.
and I mean, if you've ever seen pictures of Fantasyland is amazing looking.
The whole park looks really cool. Yeah. So, yeah, Sam, it is. You know, somebody asked the question, and now that I think about it, it is kind of surprising that they didn't put onboard audio on VelociCoaster. That is interesting.
I mean, we're in like testing. That could be something that they maybe incorporate.
I mean, the issue with onboard audio on any coaster is just the weight.
Yeah,
I mean, the technology has gotten smaller, But I mean, there's a lot of different additional things, especially with anything that's going to do inversions. It definitely increased. I mean, look at putting onboard audio and Hawk. I think is affected. We were hoping it'd have less vibration, and I feel like it's vibrating just as badly as it was.
Hear that? Like we, Michael and I, we like got a drink, and we're like sitting by like that back portion by like Captain America's diner, and just like hearing it go off like Hulk is just like, oh no, that sounds bad. Like, that sounds dangerous.
You can hear that buildup noise from like inside the Discovery Center. The first launch for VelociCoaster is really loud. Like you can hear it from several locations within Jurassic Park. The launch is
Jordan.
Really
Did Jordan have something to say since he also went on the ride?
He's just really jealous that I wrote it. And Jordan wants to ride.
Boo-hoo.
You'll get on it.
Save up your money and get a pass, young man.
Mm-hmm. Save your money.
I know you get an allowance.
It's like $200, he says.
Oh, that's cute. No, it's not.
Start doing some chores. Sam Terran looks amazing. That I've watched the POV of that coaster several times, and it looks.
I just want to go to Alton Towers.
Yeah, I didn't know that Oblivion got like Fanta like sponsorship, and they slapped Fanta all over it. What's up with that?
That is such like a European. I feel like European park thing.
So gaudy. It was like somebody posted a picture on Twitter, and I saw all the Fanta stuff, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that and I was like, oh, gosh.
I say that, but then Six Flags has done some of that crap too.
And everyone backlashed against Fanta. Everybody's like, rebellion against Fanta.
I'm trying to remember if when I went to Great Adventure, I think like one of the El Toro trains was like covered in like advertisements for something. Yeah. Six Flags just pulled that kind of stuff.
They did take it out,
too.
Sam? They did remove all the Fanta stuff. Maybe I guess that picture was old then. I didn't know they'd taken it out. That's interesting. Oh, gosh. So, Alton Towers looks like a fun park too. There's so many parks over there in the UK.
The only reason I know about Alton Towers is because of Sam's videos. I like watch them to hype me up.
I know UK's got, I can't wait to go over there and finally experience Blackpool and Alton Towers and.
Yeah,
and I'm going blank on the other Thorpe Park, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thorpe. One of the other major.
Sam,
parks.
Quick, list all the amusement parks in England. Go.
We'll have to have Sam on sometime and chat about UK parks.
Yes.
Get us up to date on some UK amusement parks. So, alrighty, guys, I'm gonna get on out of here. This kid's dying for me to show him VelociCoaster pictures and video. So I'm gonna.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, and Michael probably wants to get on out of here too. Have a relax the rest of the evening.
Oh my god, I just want like a huge bowl of ice
shower
cream.
And go to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, I did that the second I came home. I was like, I'm not gonna sit there in my own stink.
Miserable out there today. Florida summer is here. So
when I was driving home, I was like, you know who I don't like? Walt Disney. Thank you for picking Florida, Walt Disney. You couldn't pick Walt. Tennessee or something nice. You
North Carolina. Something.
Because then everybody else would pick Florida.
A little bit halfway up, where we get seasonable. At least we get the actual seasons.
Because I want to live here.
Yeah.
If everything was in Tennessee or something, I'd live in Tennessee.
Yep. So thanks, Sam, for chatting with us, man. Appreciate it. Have a good night, brother.
Bye.
And I'm going to wrap up the live stream here. Thanks, guys, for chatting with us. As always, we greatly appreciate it. We love doing these live streams for the podcast. So be sure to tune in. I think we've locked down Sunday evening as our time frame around 8 o'clock every week for the podcast. Well, every other week. This is going to be the rare occasion where we're going to have back-to-back ones with the VelociCoaster one this week.
Miss me.
Yeah.
And then next week, in a week's time, we're going to get caught up with all the other news and that sort of thing. So, but after that, we'll be back to bi-weekly. But Sundays at 8 o'clock, I think that's kind of the time frame we're sticking with. So for those of you watching right now, be sure to check in. If you're watching us here on YouTube, be sure you're subscribed. And the thing with YouTube is you have to have the little bell icon checked or whatever it is. It's not like Facebook. Facebook, you go live, it notifies everybody that follows your page. The thing with YouTube is you have to check that little bell to get notifications of our channel. So if you guys enjoyed the podcast live stream and you're new here, be sure to subscribe, check out all of our other videos, and we'll continue to do the live stream here on our YouTube channel. So
yeah, make sure you like the stream. Yeah,
be sure to like this video. It all helps out, all the likes and the follows, and it helps us reach more people, and we love meeting new people and chatting with new people. So, the more exposure, the better. We appreciate it. So anyways, good night, guys. Be safe. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated. And we'll see you guys. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.